Hello, everyone. When Sister Archana told me to say a few words for this occasion, she strictly told me no preaching. Because we have a guest speaker today, and she said, we don't want 2 sermons. So she suggested, why don't you look at it in a personal way, okay? So I started thinking about my own journey as a daughter, wife, mother, an employee, a worker. So I realized that when a girl or a young woman eventually, what a young woman eventually becomes depends very much on the people around her. So who are the people who nurtured me and made me what I am today? I started thinking about it. So there have been many people in my life, both male and female, who influenced me greatly. Okay, they are family members, friends, colleagues. But I want to focus on 2 persons, my father and my husband. Both of them are no longer around. My father was born in 1921. So if he had been alive today, he would have been 100 years old. He was a typical, strict Malayali father who had 3 daughters. So a good part of my father's life, was surrounded by 4 women. It is said that So a good part of my father's life was surrounded by 4 women, 3 daughters and a wife. Okay, like they used to say in Tamil, when you have a daughter, vaythula neruppu kattittu irukra madri, when you have a daughter. But my father didn't just have 1 daughter. He had not 2 daughters, but 3 daughters. So just imagine the amount of fire in his belly. Although he was a very traditional man in his thinking, in some ways, he was also a very forward-looking man. He valued education and made sure that all of us were educated. My sisters are teachers in maths and chemistry, and I am in healthcare. To him, a woman should be educated, and her education should not be wasted. It must be put to good use. Whenever we did well in school, we could ask for anything we wanted. Usually it was a board game, a bicycle, or badminton rackets. I believe that he was like that because of my mother. My mother was a working woman. She was a nurse. I won't talk about my mother today because if I talk about her, I will have to touch Proverbs 31, the virtues of the woman. Then that will be a sermon. Okay. My father was a hardworking man, and he was never idle. Since he had no sons, he trained us to do certain things around the house, like change light bulbs, mix paint the house. We were all very comfortable with that. Dismantle a fan, clean it, and fix it back again. And so we were comfortable with hammers and screwdrivers and all. Even at this age, I'm still comfortable fixing things and climbing ladders, and I'm approaching 60. My father was a quiet man, but when he spoke, he was wise and didn't speak unnecessary words. He instilled good values in us. The next person I want to focus on is my beloved husband. He is none other than Pastor Stephen, the founder of this church. Okay? He passed away in January last year. Where my father was the hardware, my husband was the software. My father was quiet and worked with his hands, but my husband was the opposite. He loved to talk. Maybe that's why he became a pastor. He showed great love for me and our children. Many of you know the story of how he waited 7 years just to marry me. He was more of a people person. He loved being with people and talking to them and encouraging them. He accepted people as they are, and even though many people have flaws and imperfection, and he steered them towards the right direction. That was his strength. The greatest thing he taught me was humility, and he protected me very well from the harsh realities of life in the world and in the ministry too. So now that he's gone, I am pushed forward to do many things which I never had to do before. But it is through his being with him all these years, married for 25 years, I have learned a lot from him. He was a person with so much energy that he would run all over the place, handling many things at a time. But he always made it a point to come back home and spend 15 minutes, half an hour with us and run off again. It was his positive energy that has influenced me greatly and kept me going on even after his passing. So why am I sharing all these things? It is just to make us realize how much we, as parents, as brothers, sisters, how we influence the females in our lives. Okay, it can be your daughter, it can be your sister, it can be your wife. Okay, so we have to play our part in nurturing them the way that the Bible teaches us also. We may not realize that how much we influence them in our habits, in our speech, in our actions. When we encourage the young women in our life, they are uplifted. If we are hardworking, they are hardworking too. They learn a lot of us. If we have a negative mindset and are lazy, they tend to be that also. So we have to be very careful on how we behave in order to bring them up the right way. So the simple but important lesson I hope that you will take back from what I just shared is that our behavior, our values, our daily Christian living should have a positive impact on the women around us. I hope that this little sharing will make you see your daughter, your sister and mother, or even female colleagues differently today, from today. Thank you.